Most drummers learn to play on a single pedal setup. They don't even think about buying a double pedal until several years into playing. Now, during those first few years, you will develop all kinds of coordination, technique, and confidence in using that leg. And when you try to switch over to the double pedal without putting a similar amount of effort in, you often get this case of a dominant and a weaker foot. Now, I'm going to show you some exercises to make sure you eradicate having a dominant foot and you make sure both feet are equal. So I'm going to start off by giving you an example of how it looks to play some simple groups of 3 with a dominant leg. So that would be right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right. I'm going to give you this example in my hands, so it's a bit more visual, but I think you'll quite clearly see why this could be a hindrance to your kick drumming. I'm now going to remove my left leg, even though it's my left hand, and just have a look at what your right leg is doing. Now, to translate that over to your feet, you will see that that is quite intense. There's no rest time, there's no breaks. It is full on. It's exhausting. I'm going to give you the same example now, but I'm going to remove my right leg and have a look at what my left leg is doing. As you can see, the left leg is doing a fraction of the work. Not only that, it has all this rest time. So whilst one leg is being drastically underworked and having far too much rest, the other leg is being drastically overwhelmed with no rest. This is the problem with transferring from a single pedal straight onto a double pedal. You tend to use only one leg and the other leg just tries to pick up the slack. You're not going to be able to maximize your kick drumming this way. If you want to really optimize what you can do with 2 pedals, you have to use them both. What we want is equal workload and equal rest time. And this is where my kick drumming concept comes into play. I will play alternating hits. So I would play right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. I'm going to give you the same example now, and you'll see how much better this is. I'll remove my left leg first. Now that is manageable, especially for a leg. That is something that you could do, probably was doing already in your single pedal grooves. It is much more achievable than this. I'm going to give the same example again, but I'm going to remove my right leg this time. As you can see, it's exactly the same thing. So what we have now is equal playing, equal rest time. What this is going to do is enable us to not have any limitations on our playing. With a dominant foot, the fastest you can bounce your leg up and down is the fastest you will be able to do those groups of 3 or 5 or whatever. As soon as you remove that ceiling, you remove that limitation, you're going to start flying. Sometimes there are occasions where this isn't valuable and they're sort of either extreme end of the spectrum. So one example would be if you're playing this. You don't need to alternate feet there. You could play it with your stick for all I care. It doesn't really matter. The other extreme example is if you're playing in like a deathcore band and it's just straight 30-second notes for a couple of minutes, because then you've run into the same problem that we started with, but instead of one leg bouncing up and down, you've got both. In that occasion, you're better off using double strokes. That way you get a little bit of rest time whilst the other leg takes over, and you can split the work between different muscle groups. Again, you don't cramp up and you can sort of push tempos a bit further. Now, aside from barely playing any kicks and playing loads and loads and loads of kicks without a rest, everything else you should be alternating. Now, this can seem like a really scary thing to do. No one wants to lead groups with their left leg. It's unnatural. We don't have much confidence there. It just feels wrong. And you're going to run into some problems. You're going to probably run into coordination problems because your entire drumming life up until now, your right hand and your right foot have been synced up like a puppet, but you've rarely had to use right hand, left leg, or the other way around. And it's that cross coordination that really messes with people. So I've devised a series of exercises to help break down these coordination problems, boost confidence, and get your feet alternating comfortably. The first of those exercises is quite simply those groups of 3 we started with, right, left, left, but with a quarter note in your right hand. Now, one problem you might run into is flamming, and that's why it's really valuable to be playing on a pad. If you're playing on a kit and you're hitting a big loud washy crash in a kick drum, you might not hear if they're flammed. They'll sort of sound together. But when you're on a pad with a short, concise sound and a short, concise sound on the floor, you can really hear those inaccuracies. So let's get started with those groups of 3, right-hand quarter note, and try and avoid all flams. Everything really accurate, okay? When you've got comfortable in your right hand, switch out to your left hand, tackle some more cross coordination. It still probably feels a bit uncomfortable leading with your left leg, and you've probably found that on some occasions, your brain has tricked yourself and you've slipped right back into your old ways and played right, left, right, right, left, right. I did this a lot when I was learning to do this, and the only way I could overcome it was by physically watching my knees, and if ever I'd see my right leg bounce up twice, I'd stop there and try again. It does take a while to retrain, but when you get into this groove of not even thinking about what leg comes next, your legs just work together and play nice. Your feet just fly. The next exercise I'm going to give you is quite simply the next odd number, so a group of 5, and obviously we're going to be applying the concept. So that would be right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. We're going to work up the exact same way. We're going to get a quarter note in the right hand, avoid flams, get it nice and accurate, and then get that quarter note in the left hand. At this point, you should be feeling a bit more loose and a bit more comfortable alternating your feet, but there's still a lot of work left to do. You now need to go and practice a lot, everywhere and every day. It doesn't become second nature by doing an hour a day. It becomes second nature by doing it all day. So you're going to wake up, sit on the edge of your bed, pick up your phone, check your texts, and your feet are going to be going. You're going to go downstairs, get your bowl of cereal, start eating, and you're going to be going. You're going to go on the train to work, at dinner, all day, every day. And this will become very, very normal very quickly.